Fox 11 Sports with Cody Krupp.
Well, you can see behind me the Diamondbacks celebrating their wild card series victory. Well, it was flat out frustrating for the Brewers. Going into this upcoming season, that's a fair statement, but if you look into the near future between expiring rookie contracts and add on to the top of extension signed recently.
You asked me to wake you up when September ends.
Oh, no. September's not over yet.
Exactly. Not quite on the calendar, but is the case for high school football.
As the British would say it, hello, mates. Really not that much farther than some other of those West Coast road trips, but much more to that.
And Johnny, I mean, he's been in that Arizona sun, what now, 2 days? Where's your tan? Come on, man.
He's got the sunglasses on.
And he's got the freckles, of course.
There's no questioning Jordan Love's toughness. Oftentimes, that pocket collapsing around him, the Vikings recording 10 quarterback hits before said and done. An angry separation. That's not what it was.
Yeah.
It was more of a situation, kind of a cliche football, but just too many mouths to feed. In a position really not used to being in. They were the one expected to come away with a win. We were 50 feet away, had the rain poncho, we call it the champagne poncho, the goggles ready to be escorted on the field for celebration. But in the span of 5 or so seconds, AmFam Field went from what was electric to dead silent. A road trip here to training camp, always been, of course, on the bucket list. But when you got 3 children, including Jackson, kind of hard to pack a bicycle. So I said, no problem, I got you. Threw one of my Nissan Kicks. And he patiently waited for Melton in the carousel, and from there, the rest is history.
I'm waiting for Boma.
I'm going with the Packers win. I know it's probably the underdog there. You don't call the Packers underdogs very much, but
Right.
Yeah, it's their opportunity against an undefeated team.
And we're not working.
Well, I'm working.
Well, I'm not.
Instead of a mic drop, he called it a Canton cleat drop. The bar was set too high with how they played last year. People's expectations were, all right, now this team's Super Bowl caliber, they're going to take that next step. I just don't think they're ready.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. At this point, the Packers were sitting at 6-8, even winning their final 3 games, did not control their own playoff fate, while sitting much more comfortable approaching this year's holiday.
The hiring of Doug Gottlieb as the new head coach of the Phoenix, of course, comes with a lot of skepticism, a lot of questions. A coach that has never even been an assistant at the Division I level or any level in the NCAA for that matter.
Now, here's the latest from Fox 11 Sports.
Numerous times throughout this offseason, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, Brian Gutekunst's general manager, asked a similar question. Are the pair of 2022 first-round draft picks out of Georgia part of that long-term vision? Both headed into the final year of their rookie contracts, but also it includes a team option that could lock them up in 2026, and today was the deadline to make a decision. Already announced yesterday, they will pick up the 5th year for defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt. Pretty costly, though, nearly $13 million. Well, now that the deadline has come and gone, the same cannot exactly be said for linebacker Quay Walker. However, as first reported by ESPN's Rob Domofsky, the Packers are instead going to look to sign him to a new long-term deal for 2026 and beyond, even perhaps as soon as week 1. Here was the GM back when the season ended talking steps both took in year 3.
Super fired up about both those guys' seasons this year. I mean, I think Quay continued to take a big leap, and another guy that struggled through injuries at the end of the year, but he was really impactful for us this year. Continues to be a great leader for us. So certainly think we would love to have him around here for longer than just a couple more years. He's that kind of guy. And then D.Y. was probably our most consistent pass rusher from the inside this year. But I think both of those guys had their best years as pros so far.
This afternoon on the south side of the Windy City, the Milwaukee Brewers looking for their first sweep of the season. And no better candidate to try to do it against than the White Sox. Last year swept an MLB record 24 times. This season so far in 4 of their 9. Top half of the first is looking like it was going to go that direction. 3 walks loaded the bases for Rhys Hoskins. 2-out missile going to carry deep to center. This could be a grand slam. Below A's Robert Jr. said think again. Give credit to where it's due, but tough one to swallow there for the Brew Crew. And from then on, really, the offense, nowhere to be found. 2 hits all game was a season low. However, in the 6th inning, they're still right in it, only down 1 zip, but nobody's going to have a chance to catch this home run from Miguel Vargas. 3-run shot made it 4-0. Southsiders then would double up their advantage, adding 4 more in the 7th, while holding the Brewers scoreless for the first time this year with a final of 8-0, ending what was the longest Brewers road trip of the year, all year long it is, going 4-6, finally back home tomorrow versus the Cubbies at 7-10. Last Last week, Wisconsin becoming the 45th state to approve NIL at the high school ranks. Something, of course, we've seen completely change the college game. However, not going to exactly be structured quite the same. The first priority, though, of course, was getting everyone on the same page, as Doug Ritchie explains.
Last week, a WIAA member.
All right, thank you, Dougie. Tonight's high school game time featuring a pair of Bay Conference matchups in girls soccer. Let's start out with Green Bay East visiting Xavier. Hawks with the early corner kick. And the freshman here going to execute it like a seasoned veteran, Helena Krieger, right into Kate Jeanette's torso. Maybe a little late help from the Red Devils, but that'll be the first goal at the 43-second mark. Xavier, we're up 1-0. Now penalty kick 10 minutes in. Easy does it for Jeanette. Just like that, Hawks up 2-0, beating Green Bay East in a 3-0 final. Now to the 8-time reigning conference champion West Superior. They took on Green Bay West. Phantoms' Faith Walder committed to Northern Michigan for basketball. A right leg rocket to go with a jump shot. Little deflection off the keeper. And there was a lot more where that came from. This, however, not one of them, Michelle Grijalva. Nice little save there for the Wildcats. But then it was just full steam ahead for the Phantoms. Loose ball front of the net. Vani Patil takes advantage. 2-0 lead for West Superior. Well, just 10 minutes in, it was already 6-0. Marissa Vandehei finding here. A little opening on the left side. 15-0 win before it was all said and done in favor of West Superior. And of course, today was kind of a prototypical spring sport day in Wisconsin. If it's not soccer, was probably not playing anywhere.
Yeah,
Cancel all across. Baseball, softball, you name it.
Very wet. All
Maybe
right.
track was out there.
Maybe. All right, thanks, Cody. We'll be right back with that final check.
Cody Krupp has his story.
High school at Peshtigo, pretty fully fledged at that point that track was. Your college route?
You know, it's hard to turn down a Division I scholarship, so I took that and ran with it.
After a highly successful 4-year track career at Marquette, where he set the school record in the 400-meter hurdles, he knew his real passion was always the football field. So instead of taking a scholarship offer at Wisconsin, Miami to continue his track career due to COVID having some extra years.
Yeah, I mean, even at Marquette, I thought that this was my end goal. You know, I always wanted to be in the NFL and compete at the highest level. And St. Norbert was just another piece of that plan.
Called up the head coach here, the Green Knights, wanted to come close to home and play the sport he always loved.
Just belief in myself, you know, taking this jump to come play football is, you know, a little discomforting. You know, I had a great track career and I could have kept adding to that, but, you know, I took the leap of faith to come play football, chase his dream.
The addition of a 6'5", 245-pound pass-catching track star to the roster was sure a win for both St. Norbert and Van Voren, finishing his college career with 13 touchdowns over 1,000 yards, earning first-team all-conference honors. Yeah, somebody turn on the film. What are they going to see that could transition to the next one?
Yeah, just explosive plays and physicality. I mean, I think I use my body and my speed, my track speed well out on the field, so when you turn on tape, that's what you're going to see.
Now is currently in the final chapter of his athletic endeavors, and the words were pretty much already written before it even started.
I mean, even at Marquette, I thought even if I couldn't go play football for 2 years, I was still going to, you know, try to make it to a pro day and try out.
A Packers local pro day invitation for the Peshtigo native.
Growing up 45 minutes north of Green Bay, everyone always idolizes a Packer, so, you know, being able to go in there and meet the coaches, meet the staff, and then, you know, get a tour of the facility and, you know, kind of talk ball with those guys is a pretty cool experience.
Already has some pretty unique draft day experience under his belt that dates back to when he was a high school freshman.
Worker going past, my dad tapped her on the shoulder, was like, hey, can my son go up and do it? And she's like, yeah, for sure. They gave me the card, made sure I pronounced the guy's name right, and then sent me out on the stage.
And not only did Van Voren play football here at St. Norbert, he also continued his track career, finishing 4th at Nationals. Pretty good run, if I must say so. Reporting here from St. Norbert College, Cody Krupp, Fox 11 Sports.